Welcome to the Tuning In podcast, where we talk alignment, intuition, and our internal guidance system. We cover woo-woo topics in an approachable and practical way. I'm your host, Dana Evans of Alignful.com. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Tuning In podcast. This week, I am recording here with a cup of bone broth, chicken bone broth that I made. I'm in the middle of a liver reset and really got hit hard with some detox symptoms. So I'm recording the podcast late because I was incapacitated yesterday with a headache and a little nausea and pure exhaustion. I don't know if you have ever done any sort of liver reset. I'm doing a relatively mild one, but the symptoms are real, my friends. So just keep that in mind. You're not dying, you're not sick, but you are having detox symptoms and they're not very fun. But know that they only last a couple days and you do end up on the other side. So until then, I'm keeping it light, taking it easy, getting as much work as I can done before noon, because I know then I start to get really exhausted and I allow myself to rest because I can. So that's a little what's Dana up to. And this week, I actually wanted to talk, I don't think the episode's that long, but in the spirit of gratitude, I talked about what it feels like to want what you have. What? I only want things I don't have. Isn't that how it works? Well, it is how it works, but a really great way to experience gratitude is to reflect upon things that you once wanted and you now have. And I talk about that more in this week's episode. So without further ado, here's the episode. Hello, happy Woo Woo Wednesday, everybody. I hope you are all doing amazing, and can you believe it's November 20th? Oh my gosh. And with that, it is Thanksgiving season, at least here in the United States, and I know that comes naturally with a lot of gratitude. As you will find out the more you listen to this podcast, I definitely do not focus gratitude only on November and December. In fact, I think it's really important that we build gratitude into our lives as a daily practice and really something that resonates with who we are, what we believe in, and what we do on a regular basis. Gratitude is not something that you need to check off your to-do list, like, I wrote down 3 things I was grateful for today. That is a nice way to start, but overall, I don't think it's as effective as building it into your everyday life. For example, when I wake up in the morning, well, the first thing I do is choose my first thought. And I have a podcast episode about that. The second thing I do is really love how much I love my bed and how comfortable my bed is. And if my cat's with me, I think about how freaking adorable she is and cuddly, and how grateful I am that I don't have to set an alarm and yet I still wake up at 5:30 in the morning. All of the things that I get excited about when I wake up, I choose to focus my attention there first thing in the morning. Instead of, oh my God, what didn't I get done yesterday? I'm not ready for the day. I'm stressed. I'm worried. I need more sleep. You can see how the energy is really different between the two. And here's the thing. I didn't have to do anything except shift where my thoughts go. So first thing in the morning, I'm building that in. What is good? What is good? What is good? And that really sets the tone for the rest of my day. It's similarly when I go to bed. I usually have a little evening routine where I go to bed before my husband and I'll do a little breathing, possibly do a little stretching before bed. Then I get into bed, I prop myself up on my pillow, I close my eyes, and I just notice How am I feeling? What went well today? What am I excited about for tomorrow? And I let my mind run and process and just let it do its thing. I wouldn't call it a meditation, but it is a form of meditation because our minds need time to decompress and to process. And if you go straight from go, 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 being awake, to crashing and sleeping, you don't give yourself much transition time to move from awake to sleep. So this transition time is very important to me, and it sometimes is just a couple of minutes. Without fail, my mind will wander toward what I am grateful for and what I love and what I appreciate. And once again, the focus will start with my bed. I love my bed. I love sleeping in my bed. I love how comfortable it is. I love my comforter. All of these things. It's so simple, but each builds upon itself. And then it will move toward other things that I love. So you can see that practice, it's not intentional in the fact that each day I'm sitting down and trying to figure out 3 to 5 things I'm grateful for. It's built into my day. And that's how I use gratitude. It's not just morning and night. For example, today I was sitting down to record this podcast and I poured myself a cup of bone broth to help with my liver detox symptoms. And as I was pouring the bone broth, I thought, oh, isn't this amazing that I can wake up, work from 6:30 to 12:30, and then rest for the afternoon because I'm not feeling well because of this liver reset. Isn't it cool that I can just warm up bone broth on my stove and enjoy that while I go record a podcast episode? Because look, I've done cleanses all of my life. Well, at least for the past 10 years. And I often was working a full-time job. And I remember having to go into that job when I felt exhausted, had a horrible headache, wanted caffeine and couldn't have it, and just needed to sleep. But I had to work on their schedule. Obviously, I was the employee, and I didn't have the luxury to work on my own schedule. And while there's plenty of challenges where I am now in building my business Alignful, opening up the Align in 5 membership for January, doing freelance work, doing coaching for other people, there's plenty of challenges there. But there's also this glory of I get to choose my schedule. And that is something I wanted for years. And now it's here. Another example. Oh my gosh. I love my cat, Mia, my little gray cat. If you follow me on Instagram at Dana_Evans, Mia is a big part of my Instagram stories. I just love her so much. And we've had her for 3 years now. I don't take her for granted because once again, I wanted a cat so badly. See, my husband has been allergic to cats. And for years when we lived together, I wanted a cat and he thought he couldn't have one because he was allergic. Then we found Mia, the kitten, and he allowed me to get her. And it all worked out. He's fine. He's not allergic. But it was something that I wanted so desperately for so long. I would go sit at the Denver Cat Cafe, which is a little coffee shop with cats up for adoption. And I would just hang there and just feel so sad because I wanted my own cat. Now I have her. And I love that. I'm so grateful and filled with so much gratitude. But here's what happens. I just gave you 2 really clear examples of something that I still find appreciation for that has become normal for me. We spend so much time thinking about what we don't have, what we want, and a lot of times thinking about what you want, while it can be beneficial, it can also be coming from the energy of, I want this, therefore I don't have it. And that energy is energy of lack. And if we don't have something and we're feeling like we want something, then we feel like we're deprived or lacking of something valuable. It doesn't have to be that way. So anytime you're leaning toward that, there's all the things I don't have, step back and consider, but what do I have? And you see, that is a natural gratitude practice, is what do I have? What am I grateful for? What do I appreciate? But I like to ask people and have you consider it from the perspective of, remember the thing I wanted so badly and didn't have for so long, and now I do. We normalize to the having, but we can't forget that it is still magical that is in our lives. I mean, it might be a husband. You might find that for so long, or a relationship you wanted and wanted and wanted, and now you have one and it's magical, and yet you forget how much you wanted that as part of your life. It might be a pet, like my cat, or a job that you now have, or some sort of respect or recognition that you desired. Maybe you wanted to start a blog and you have one now. Maybe you wanted to volunteer or donate or anything that you had this desire for, and now it's a part of your everyday life. Go back to those things. Look at those things and close your eyes and think about how magical it is. In fact, let's do this together. If you're able, go ahead and close your eyes. Just take a moment to pause, turn your gaze inward, and slow down your breath. And then make a mental list. What are things that I have in my life that I desperately wanted that now have become normal for me? And can I allow my heart to just glow with love and appreciation for the bounty that I now have? Drop into that feeling. Maybe it's a home. Maybe it's kids. Maybe it's a better relationship with your parents. Maybe it's financial stability. Deeper relationships with friends. A business. Love for your body. Balanced relationship with food. Allow the feeling of joy and gratitude and appreciation to wash over your entire body. Feel your heart radiate out with the joy that comes from wanting and now having. For that is something so special. You can blink your eyes open now. It's beyond gratitude. It's recognition that at any point on our path, we may suddenly have what we've wanted. And at that moment, what we wanted becomes normalized, and it is our responsibility to remember how good it feels to have what we want, because everything we've created to this moment, everything that we have, it's ours. And allow that beauty and joy to wash over you as you experience that, yeah, there's still more that you want. But that doesn't mean that you're not surrounded by magic of what you have. For those things were once something that you desperately wanted. I hope that this simple practice is something that you can start integrating into your day. What little things throughout your day can you notice and say, man, I love this? How cool is it that this is mine? This is part of my life right now. How amazing is it that I'm living this experience where over time I can have the things I want, and then I can embrace them and love on them fully. As you move into the holidays, don't forget that it's not all about what's missing. It's about what's here. and being really present to everything that you're surrounded by. For nothing is given, nothing is to be taken for granted. And we appreciate what we have while we're here. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week. Until next time, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Tuning In podcast. As always, if this would resonate with anyone you know, please share the episode. You can follow along with my journey on Instagram at Dana_Evans, or find me on my website at alignful.com.